Hey guys, Jim Grant here for AmmoLand TV, and today we're taking a closer look at this Colt Single Action Army inspired rimfire handgun from Diamondback Firearms, the Sidekick. Now the Sidekick is deceptively a double single action revolver chambered in 22 long rifle, and it holds 9 rounds in the cylinder. Now I say deceptively because it's clear, if you know anything about the Single Action Army from Colt, it is you have to cock the hammer first, drop the hammer, right? And it's single action only. But this is also double action, which is really strange. And initially I couldn't help but think, why would they do that, right? It actually makes a lot of sense from a utilitarian standpoint, although from a purist standpoint, it's a little bit weird. But if you think about it, the gun makes a lot of sense in the sense that, like, let's say you're using it for snake defense or whatever, right? And you're hiking and you see a snake and boom, and you miss, right? And because the snake is a black mamba and you're in Australia for some reason, instead you're afraid, I don't have enough time to cock that hammer. You can, and just, cylinder dump, not mag dump, into it. Now it balances just like a real Colt Single Action Army because the barrel, and let me pop this cylinder out real quick, as you can see, is extremely thick for the caliber. It's actually the same diameter as a standard Colt Single Action Army barrel. It's very heavy, which is normally not a great thing, but because of the design, it's extremely well balanced. The gun kind of just balances pretty damn well. And yeah, it's inexpensive. It comes in a flat matte black color. It even has a lot of the trimmings and features you would expect from an actual Single Action Army, like this ejector, which doesn't actually do anything. It's pretty neat. It comes with a second cylinder that allows it to shoot 22 Win Mag. And the sights, just like on the real Colt Single Action Army, are fixed. It's a notch in the rear, which is obstructed when the hammer is down, which makes sense because the original gun was a single action only firearm, so it doesn't make sense to line up your sights if you can't shoot the gun. And a rounded front sight blade, and both are fixed. So whatever the zero is at the factory, that's what you got, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's great in the fact that it's extremely rugged, and so if something happens to the gun, you drop it or whatever, it's going to maintain zero. But if you find certain types of ammo have a different point of aim, point of impact than other ones, you can't really adjust it. I mean, you can adjust it in so much that you can shave some of this front sight down, but that's a permanent alteration. The gun retails for right around $299, although it's cheaper online when you look around. And the old school style grips are replaced, instead of being like a hardwood, with a black polymer with aggressive checkering. And the hammer itself, as you can see, has the little Sidekick logo actually carved into it. It's pretty neat. In my testing, it has been very reliable, deceptively so again. And I say that because for whatever reason, the cylinder would occasionally bind right there. You see that, but it would only bind when the gun's empty. Why that is, I'm not entirely sure, but when you have rounds in the gun, there's no issues whatsoever. In terms of round detonation, provided the hammer is cocked, it will, when dropped, it'll fire. Now it's hard to see from there, but it does actually have a drop safety built in. I'm just gonna cock it, you can see it. It's very hard to see because it's the whole gun is just the same shade of dark, flat, black matte color, so it doesn't really reflect light too much. And the whole thing it's built like a tank. It's heavy. I mean, it feels like a real Colt Single Action Army when it's in your hand. It's fairly inexpensive. I think it's supposed to be a higher end replacement or alternative, if you will, to the Heritage Rough Rider series. And it's kind of in the same vein as the Ruger Wrangler, though not quite as nice. In my experience thus far, it's a reasonably accurate gun. I mean, and these sights are not terribly useful for getting precision shooting. When I was shooting at about 25 yards, I was hitting a circle about that big. Not exactly scientific, but again, this gun is not a precision marksman handgun or like a like a competition pistol. It is a backpacking gun slash backyard slash range plinker, something that's ideal for shooting tin cans and stuff like that. What is my overall opinion on the gun? Is it worth the $299 price tag? At about $250, it's a little bit better, but it does come with that extra cylinder for 22 Win Mag, so you could potentially use the gun for self-defense. I think there's better options out there, especially at that price point, but it has been very, very well made, and if you love Colt Single Action Armies and you want something that's a little off the beaten path, the Sidekick's not a bad little gun. it doesn't really do anything especially remarkable, and other than the double action component. So if you're looking to get something that's going to wow you and keep you, amazed all the time, this thing is not a K22, and it is not like a Korth in 22, but it's also like a tiny fraction of the price. So overall, is it worth a buy? I mean, if you're looking for an inexpensive trail gun that's coated in a finish that will never rust unless you scrape it off and then leave it underwater for a month, then yeah, this is a good, reliable, inexpensive gun that you can, shove in a backpack, take with you when you're boating or whatever, and not really worry about it. Anyway, thanks guys. For MLN TV, I'm Jim Grant. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, I will catch you guys on the flip side.